Welcome back, guys. Thanks for checking out part 2 of this tutorial. And now we are going to animate BB8. So let's go ahead and go to our element 3D. And before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and save this. Okay. Let that be a lesson as well, because you do not want to lose all this stuff. Because why, right? Why do it over? Unless you're practicing. Okay, so but you want to choose to start over and not, you don't want After Effects to choose for you. Wonderful, excellent, amazing. Okay, so to animate BB8, we have to understand that it's made up of two parts, and this is rigged already. So the head will be controllable, and so will the body, and it is controllable through auxiliary channels. Channel 1 being the body, and channel 2 being the head. And we're not going to mess with the position, but we are going to mess or work with the rotation. So the rotation for channel 1 on the y-axis, okay, it goes left and right, and I'll just Command Z that, and the X goes forward, right? So we know that by doing a positive number here, we will make BB8 go forward. Okay, so let's go ahead and make a keyframe here on rotation X. And also what we want to do is under replicator, we want to also make a keyframe for position Z and XY. Okay. XY might not be needed, but we'll see about that. Actually, let's go ahead and turn that off. Just Z. We just want it to go straight forward. I mean, if we wanted to turn right or left, we could do that, and we might do that. We'll see what this looks like. All right, so I select my layer here, and I press U to bring up everything that has a keyframe. And let's go ahead and go about almost 4 seconds down, and I am going to press N to trim that, and if I right click on this area here, I can trim comp to work area. Okay, so now let's go ahead and see if we can bring up BB8 to the foreground. And so let's go ahead and just do that. Okay, so if he goes straight, he actually goes, to the left. And we don't want him to do that. Or maybe we do, but we don't. Because I want you guys to see how, you can manipulate his direction. So we go back to frame 1 or frame 0, first frame, and go ahead and press position XY. Okay, and once again I am going to bring up that and go all the way to the end, and over here let's go ahead and shift him over to the middle. Okay, alright, so here he is right there, and he's coming up, and it goes here. Great, everything looks good, right? Wrong. Here's the thing. As you can see, as he gets closer, his shadow kind of disappears. He gets a little darker. And the reason for that is that our light is shining kind of here in the background and not in the foreground. And a way to kind of see that is we go back to our matte shadow, and we click on Enable. And you see that two things are affecting this. First, our plane is not going all the way to the foreground. And number two, only this part is lit, but not this part. So let's go ahead and fix that. Go back to Scene Setup here and choose our model. Okay, choose our model. We gotta see it. So let's go down here to our materials and bring it up again. Turn off matte shadow. And what we want to do is make it, bigger. So there we go. Much bigger. I think that's going to do it. Okay, and let's go here and turn on matte shadow again and say okay. And now it's all the way here in the foreground, correct? Okay, great. But now, how do we address lighting this part up? You guessed it. You guessed it. We're going to duplicate the light. And here we go. We go Command D. Okay, nice and bright over there. And now we just want to move it more into the foreground. All right. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to see where BB8 is at this point in time. Right here. Okay. So BB8 is in Z space around 52. Okay. So I'm going to go here to the position of this light and just kind of bring it up some to about, somewhere around BB 58 or something like that. Okay. Doesn't have to go all the way. So, it's around here, 58. Somewhere around here, right? So 58, 85, whatever. It doesn't have to be perfect. Once again, let's go ahead and mess with the point of interest so that it points to this area here. And there we go. Now we have a nice lit runway, if you will. Okay, and now our shadow is here, and everything looks pretty good. And so let's go back here to Element 3D and enable the matte shadow. And now we can't see it much, so let's go ahead and bump it up a little bit, because we're not seeing enough of that, at least not now. So the shadow, let's make it 19%, and let's go ahead and make this 19% too, kind of match that, right? Like that. Something like that. Alright, now we can see it. It looks a lot more realistic, and we like that. We like that a lot. Alright, so Midway, how's he doing? He's doing good. Over here, he's doing good. Let's go ahead and save. Okay. So now, over here we have two, right? Two light sources. And that's not... We would kind of like it to kind of blend more than this. I mean, it can have two light sources, but I am going to make it so that our first light source is a little less prominent. And let's go back to about 10 on that. Alright, something like that. That looks pretty good. Or what we could do is back up the light a lot, make it more intense, and make it one light cover everything. I'm not going to do that, but that is an option. We might come back and actually do that, who knows. But I'm not going to worry about it right now. Okay? Yeah. So... okay. So yeah, one is shining from the foreground back, and I think I actually just might keep, light number 2. Let me see if that works. He kind of steps into the light, right? Steps into the light, but over here he's sort of in the darkness. Let's see if we can work with this light by making it also shine a little bit on BB8 when he's back there. So to do that, once again, go back here and disable that, and let's see if we can play around with this so that we catch everything, right? So let's go ahead and do that. There we go. Wonderful. That looks like it'll affect the whole thing, and you have one light source, and it looks pretty good, right? Um, what we might want to do is, it looks like it's coming from the right, but not so much from the right, but it's like, towards the camera versus right to the right of him, right? And so, I mean, we can play around with the positioning of the light. Just making it go down, and okay. And so you're just going to have to play around with it a little bit, and to see, where exactly you want this light to be. It looks like this. It looks like, I mean, look at how long these shadows are. So it looks like it's towards the end of the day here. So yes, kind of like a low light, kind of a low light there, and so go ahead and just play with it a little bit. Let's see if we can get. All right. There we go. All right, there we go. Okay, so now we have the light straight to the right of BB8, which is what I wanted, and most of his the plane here is covered and lit up. Okay, and that's a good thing. Okay, there we go. Okay, so it took some, trial and error there, and that's okay. What we want to do is get into the mindset that not everything is just 1 + 1 = 2. We're going to have to play around with it. I mean, most of the time when you're compositing a 3D object into a live action scene, you got to understand that most likely it's a scene you've never seen before. So you need to rely on your techniques and know how to problem solve to get something to work. Another thing I'm seeing right here is that it's not wide enough, this plane. It doesn't go into the grass. Once again, let's go ahead into Element 3D and make that plane a little wider, okay? So let's go ahead and turn off Matte Shadow and make it wider, like that. And that should do it, hopefully. Yes, so nice and wide and lit up. So we like that, right? We like that a lot. Okay, so let's go ahead and enable this, and now, boom, we are good. I just think it's a little harsh. Let's go ahead and put it down to about 10%. Okay, maybe about 8%, something like that. That looks a lot better, I think. All right, great. So there we have it, BB8. Okay, back to making this animating Mr. BB8. Okay, so now we have him going all the way over here. Okay, it looks good. But what we want to do also is turn his body. And so to do that, okay, we're going to do rotation X, go all the way to the end, and we are going to move this to the left a few times, and go back. I'm going to put this to a third, and we are going to see if he rolls correctly. Okay, there's no formula to this. It all depends on, how much ground you are covering, how big is your BB-8 on screen. It just has to look like a ball is actually rolling, and it is covering the distance it needs to cover at the speed that it's rolling at. Okay, so here we go. Let's play that. So if it's rolling too fast, it's going to seem that it has no traction, and if it's rolling too slowly, it's going to look like it's slipping, right? So I think I'm right at that borderline where it kind of looks pretty good, I think that looks pretty good. So we're going to go ahead and keep that. Okay, so let's go ahead and mess with the head. So if we go to our auxiliary channel 2, we're going to see that rotation Y. Let me just go ahead and make a keyframe and kind of work at it here in the timeline. So channel 2 Y. I'm going to have him start looking, to the left, and then, or to the right, his right, and I'm going to have some quick movements. Him looking the other way, almost like a robot. So he's looking for something or whatever. Go up a little more, and then once again he looks to the left. Go up a little more, and he'll look to, his left. Maybe not that much. Okay. And then finally he kind of looks straight again. So we'll put that at 0. Something like that. Straight is always weird. Let's go ahead and look at that. And it's over. So let's go ahead and see what that looks like. So it kind of looks like that it could turn a little faster, right here. So I am just going to just increase it just a little bit more. Okay, yeah, it looks a little better. Another thing that BB8 does is his body. So on channel 1, it's never like lined up like that, It's more like, to the left like that, and then it goes to the right, and it's just a weird rotation. So I'm going to keyframe rotation Y on channel 1, okay, and go all the way to the end, and I am going to go ahead and go the other way completely and see what that looks like. So it not only, it doesn't turn, it goes to the right, to the left, that sort of thing, and it's not so uniform, and I think that's more of how BB8 really walks. Okay, great. So there you have it. That looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and just take some glances of what it looks like in full res. Okay, that looks pretty good. Okay, over here he's extremely sharp, right? So we can do one of two things. We can adjust the depth of field. Okay, or we can just add like a blur so that it's not so sharp when it like reaches, like this is good, you know, I like that. But once it gets right over here, it's just way too sharp. So, because this is sharper, which kind of makes sense, but over here it's just like out of this world sharp. Okay, so what we're going to do is add a fast blur. Okay, so we go here to our effects and presets, and we're going to keep a fast blur here, and just 1 pixel. Okay, so when he gets to here, now it kind of matches. Okay, yes, it's probably the sharpest it has ever been, sharpest area on the live footage, but it shouldn't be, you know, crazy sharp. Over here is probably fine. Okay, but you know, over here it's fine. So what I'm going to do is keyframe the blurriness, and I'm just going to bring that up here. So the blurriness is keyframed here at, let's say, 0. But as he approaches this thing here closer to the camera, we're going to go ahead and make it 1. Okay, so that, you know, one offsets the other. So there you go. He doesn't get into like super focused, you know, and it kind of matches this this part here. Okay, great. So you know, when you're sort of satisfied with what you got, you know, what you want to do is kind of render things out and just kind of see, okay, did I hit the mark with this or not? But you know, I went through a whole mess of things here with you, with the lights, with the animation, everything. Like, feel free to tweak, you know, and say, you know what, yeah, that's okay, but you know what, I think if you had put the light right here, it would have been better, or you know, maybe the shadow under the BB8, I feel that it's not big enough, or the rolling isn't big enough, and tweak it, and just get it perfect. Okay, so there is a lot of tweaking that goes on in jobs like this. So, but the point was to give you guys the techniques and the know-how on how to put this together. You know, don't forget to color correct stuff. I like color correcting, you know. Bring up a curves into an adjustment layer and just play with it, you know, and just maybe just darken up a few things, or you know, and kind of just like make everything, that might be too much. Let's go ahead and reset that just a little bit, you know, something like that. And so you know, bring out the blacks and things like that, and it looks really, really nice and thing. And you could maybe do a vignette if you're into that sort of thing. But let me go ahead and render this out, and we're just going to take a look at it, and let's do that. Okay, so we've rendered that out. Let's take a look at it. And here's what we created together. Once again, wonderful. You know, when he gets here to the end, you know, he might be a little dark, so I would kind of like play more with the light, make sure that he's well lit throughout. But besides that, looks pretty good. Another touch I just want to make sure that you guys, that I didn't talk about here, but go ahead and turn on motion blur. That's also going to help it, help the realism of everything. So go ahead and put motion blur on for the comp, and also for oops, for your model. Okay, right there. And you're going to get some motion blur, and that's going to look even better. All right. So, guys, I hope that you guys enjoyed this. I also have other shots. This was a test shot actually for a teaser for a little video that I'm doing for my daughter's channel, where she gets visited by BB-8, and she is going to be trained with the lightsaber, and she is going to go on the X-wing, and so I'm doing all these test shots and getting ready for that, and so this was one of the test shots I did, okay, with this model. But I'm going to leave the teaser also in the instructions area. I'm sorry, the description area under the under under the video, so that you guys can check out the teaser. Okay.
The force is strong in my family.
And I'm not going to put it here. Well, yeah, let's see it. It's only like 20 seconds. So
The force is strong in my family. My father has it. I have it. You have that power too.
okay, so I just wanted to point something out here to you guys, that if you guys enjoyed this tutorial, you want to see some more advanced stuff. I kept on doing more challenging shots, and the one that actually made it to the teaser was this shot here, which is a lot more involved, where my daughter is in here in this shot, so there's that to consider when tracking. BB-8's going up a hill, so it's not, it's a lot of different challenges here, and I could certainly make a tutorial if you guys want to see that. But it essentially it uses everything I taught you guys here. Just be bold and with your shots, and try, once you get this down, something very basic, try things like going up a hill, and running even, and just sorts of all different sorts of stuff, and see what you can get away with. But have fun doing it. So anyways, guys, thank you for joining me for this, and I hope that you guys will subscribe to my channel, and like my give it a thumbs up if you like this tutorial, you learned something from it. I really appreciate it. I'm starting out my channel now, yeah, I'll see you guys on the next tutorial. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye bye.